It didn't need a caption, no emoji, no motivational quote, no locked-in hashtag, just one image. Luka Doncic, drenched in sweat, leaner than anyone's seen him in years, staring straight through the camera like he's already in the season. And suddenly, the leagues stopped scrolling, because this wasn't just a training photo. This was a message. A message that hit harder because of when it showed up. Just after the Jokic trade talks with the Lakers became real. Just days after insiders began to admit that the unthinkable, Luka, LeBron, and Jokic wasn't just fantasy anymore. Just days after Luka had quietly begun showing up earlier to practice, staying later, engaging again. This photo, it confirmed what everyone was whispering. Luka's not watching anymore. He's preparing. And the way he looked, slimmed down, cut, sharpened, not for summer aesthetics, not for style points, for speed, for movement, for change. Because when the best passer in the world might be walking through your door, you don't wait to adapt, you start evolving. And Luka just showed the world he's not only emotionally back in, he's physically all in too. Don't mistake this for a casual off-season cut. This isn't Luka dropping a few pounds because it's beach weather. This isn't about a diet. This is about direction. Because everything about the timing is deliberate. The body, the posture, the silence, and the fact that it all hit the moment the Jokic trade talks got serious, that's not a coincidence. That's Luka sending a signal to the front office. I see you finally moving to the league. You thought I was gone. Watch what happens when I stay. To his future teammate, if you come here, I'm ready for you. This transformation isn't about ego, it's about role. Luka is no longer preparing to carry the franchise like a one-man army. He's preparing to fit, to flow, to lead differently as part of something bigger. And the physical shift, it's not just lighter, it's quicker, cleaner, more explosive. He's tuning his body for a different kind of game. The kind you play next to Nikola Jokic, where vision and motion matter more than weight and willpower. You don't just slim down because you feel like it. One Western trainer said, you slim down because your game's about to change. And Luka's game, it's already changing, not because the trade happened, because he believes it might. And he's not waiting to adjust. He's already answering the call. You can spin a lot of things in the NBA. Quotes, rumors, social media, but you can't spend timing. And the timing here, it's not just interesting, it's impossible to ignore. The image of Luka Doncic, noticeably leaner, laser-focused, mid-rep in the gym, didn't drop during training camp. It didn't drop after the team locked in a new coach. It didn't drop in the aftermath of a typical off-season lull. It dropped right after the Jokic trade talks got real. That's not a coincidence. That's not routine. That's a message. And it's written in sweat, not subtitles. Because Luka has never been the kind of star who rushes to social media when things heat up. He doesn't post cryptic emojis. He doesn't leak narratives. He doesn't beg for PR cover. He watches. He evaluates. And when something is real, he moves. And this transformation, this version of Luka, slimmer, sharper, carved down to move faster and think quicker, this isn't about aesthetics. This is about fit. This is about functionality. This is about preparing for a different style of basketball, one where he's not carrying the franchise by himself, but sharing the floor with one of the most unique players to ever touch the game. Jokic doesn't demand the ball. He demands basketball IQ. He demands feel, timing, movement. And Luka, he's already adjusting. Because this isn't the body of a guy getting in shape for another solo act. This is the body of a guy prepping for a two-man game that could break the league in half. You cut that kind of weight only when you're changing how you plan to move, said one strength coach. It's not just about running faster, it's about running smarter. And smart is exactly what Luka is doing. He knows the deal isn't done. He knows Denver could say no. But that doesn't matter, because the Lakers finally made a move that deserved his response. They showed they were serious. They finally bet big. And now Luka is showing them and the league that he's serious too. This is no longer about being in shape. This is about being in sync with a vision, and the timing proves it. This isn't Luka hedging. This isn't Luka passively observing. This is Luka preparing for something massive because he finally sees something worth preparing for. Jokić is the reason, and Luka's transformation, that's the first sign that this might actually happen. Not just the trade, the dynasty. The public saw the photo, the media made the connection, but inside the Lakers facility, they felt it first. Weeks before the lean Luka image went viral, before NBA Twitter caught fire, before rival execs started reshuffling war room plans, the trainers already knew they didn't need quotes, they didn't need leaks. They saw it in the way Luka walked into the gym earlier than usual, hoodie on, eyes locked, headphones in. This wasn't the usual off-season pace. This wasn't the "I'll work when I feel like it" rhythm that stars often carry when they don't fully believe in the direction of the franchise. This was mission energy. And for the first time since the day he landed in LA, they saw Luka preparing like he knew exactly who was coming through the door. It started subtly. He asked for cardio drills, not just stamina work, but burst training. Shorter recovery windows, more lateral footwork, less brute strength, more reactive movement. The kind of tweaks that signal one thing: I'm going to be moving without the ball a lot more. And that's when it clicked for the staff. This wasn't Luka getting in shape to survive another season. This was Luka changing how he plays. He wasn't training to handle 80% usage. One strength coach said he was training to flow, to coexist with another playmaker. Someone big, someone who thinks the game at his level, someone like Nikola Jokic. Inside the weight room, they noticed a more detailed Luka. He wasn't just knocking out sets, he was asking for specific movement prep. Open hip pivots, two-step lateral counters, one-dribble explosive drops, stuff he'd done before, but never this consistently, never this early. In the film room, he wasn't zoning out or texting during clips. He was watching spacing, watching counters, watching Jokic. That's when the trainers started talking amongst themselves. It's not about whether the trade happens. One said, he's already acting like it will. That's how you know he believes. And when Luka believes, he doesn't wait for a press release. He starts building for the version of himself that fits the next chapter, not the last one. He didn't ask for a new program. He didn't bring in his own personal staff. He just locked into what was already there and pushed it harder than anyone else. The mood around him changed too. Less jokes, less pacing, more stillness, more locked-in moments between reps, like he was visualizing something only he could see. He wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone else. He wasn't trying to impress LeBron or reassure the front office. He was trying to be ready, because if Jokić comes through those doors, Luka knows the league's not going to wait for them to figure it out. They'll have to click immediately. They'll have to move different, think faster, play freer. And Luka, he's already putting that version of himself in motion. No quotes, no commentary, just movement, just sweat, just a body transforming with intention so loud it didn't need words. And for the staff watching from the edges, that was more powerful than anything he could have said. This isn't a pairing built on flash. It's not the league's next viral duo. It's not just about names or jersey sales or all-star ballots. It's about control. Not control of tempo, not control of space, control of the game's logic. Because if Nikola Jokić and Luka Doncic end up on the same team, the NBA isn't just facing another talent stack. It's facing a basketball problem the league has never seen. These aren't two scores. These aren't a bruiser and a shooter. These are two systems, two orbits, two floor generals who break defenses, not with speed or power, but with something much scarier: understanding. Both of them read the court like it's moving in slow motion. Both can make the second pass before the first one is even caught. And both are wired to make the right play every single time. That's not flashy. That's deadly. And Luka knows it. That's why he's shifting now. That's why he's transforming. Not to impress, but to connect. Because you don't stand next to Jokić and dominate. You link with him. You move with him. You become part of the machine. The league has spent years trying to slow Luka by loading help early, sending doubles late, daring others to step up. That blueprint dies if Jokic shows up. Double Luka. He floats it to Jokic and watches him dismantle the backside. Sag off Jokic. Luka cuts off the ball and gets a layup in 2 steps. Switch. Too slow. Blitz. Too smart. Drop. Forget it. It won't be ISO heavy. It won't be highlight hunting. It'll be surgical, relentless, mathematical. And the part that should really scare the league? Luka is already training like it's happening. He's building a new body for a new role. Not the overworked solo act, but the high IQ co-pilot who makes the game impossible to solve. And that means he's not just expecting Jokic. He's planning around him. You don't cut weight to shoot more. You cut weight to move more. You cut weight to share more, one longtime NBA performance coach said. And that's exactly what's happening. Luka is getting lean not to get out of the way, but to accelerate the chemistry, to turn reaction into anticipation, to give York the same thing he brings to everyone else, a partner who doesn't have to be told where to go or what to do because he's already there. This isn't about ego. This isn't about who takes the last shot. This isn't about legacy. It's about rewriting how the game is played. And right now, Luka's already holding the pen. No public quote, no recruiting tweet, no tampering headline. Just a changed body, a changed rhythm, a changed mindset. Because Jokic might be coming, and Luka is already becoming the player who doesn't just welcome, he unleashes it. They were hoping the silence meant disengagement. They were banking on the detachment being permanent. That Luka Doncic was too far gone emotionally, that the Lakers had misplayed the hand too badly, that he wouldn't buy back in even if they brought a Godfather offer to the table. And then the photo hit. A leaner, sharper, more defined Luka. Not bulking up, not burning out, dialing in. And in front offices around the league, the group chats lit up. Coaches started reviewing personnel maps. Scouting departments went into reaction mode because that version of Luka, that's not the version you trade for. That's the version you stay the hell away from. We were watching Luka for signs of an exit, said one rival GM. That wasn't an exit sign. That was a green light. What shook them wasn't just the weight drop. It was the message buried in the discipline. Nobody drops 10 pounds of load-bearing bulk in the middle of trade rumors. Unless they're preparing to share the court, unless they know something, unless they believe something. And Luka wasn't just believing in the Jokic trade, he was already acting like it happened. Front offices that had sketched out playbooks to contain Luka now found themselves adding a second name to the chalkboard, Jokic. And suddenly, everything broke down. How do you defend 2 of the most cerebral, unselfish play-reading stars in basketball sharing the floor? How do you run a double team when both players pass better than your point guard? How do you keep your defense honest when one player manipulates angles and the other manipulates gravity? One Eastern Conference exec said it best. If that pairing happens, you don't game plan. You pray they have an off night. The ripple effect was immediate. Teams that had been quietly preparing pitches for Luka's potential departure began pulling back. Agents who'd planted stories to test his mood went silent, and scouts who downplayed the trade talk started rewatching Luka Jokic All-Star Game tape, not because it was flashy, but because it was terrifyingly fluid. Because now it wasn't about if they could coexist, it was about how fast they could overwhelm. And Luka's transformation only made it worse. This isn't just about fitness, it's about intent. You don't rework your entire off-season regimen unless you expect something major. You don't shrink your load-bearing muscle unless you're ready to run with someone who speaks your language. You don't get leaner for attention. You get leaner for alignment. And that's what the league saw in that photo. Not a gym session, not a brand moment, a blueprint. Because Luka just showed the league that he's not preparing for exit, he's preparing for arrival. Jokic's arrival and the arrival of something nobody is ready for. One rival assistant coach put it bluntly. It was nice when he looked tired. When he looked heavier, that version of Luka you could survive. This version looks like he's about to take the league apart piece by piece. And if Jokic joins him, it won't be fair. Not to the West, not to the league, not to the people who thought Luka was walking out the door, when really he was walking into something bigger than anyone expected. LeBron James didn't need to say anything. He didn't need to like the post. Didn't need to comment, repost, or drop a cryptic message like he has so many times before. Because when the photo of Luka dropped, slimmer, sharper, dead focused, LeBron already knew what it meant. He's been around too long not to. He's seen every version of transformation this league has to offer. The performative off-season grind montages, the gym selfies that are more branding than real buy-in, the new me narratives that fade before the first preseason game. But this wasn't that. This wasn't branding. This was preparation. LeBron's eyes caught it right away. The subtle reduction in Luka's size, the clarity in his form, the way the weight loss was functional, not cosmetic. This was a player getting his body ready for a different role. And that's all LeBron needed to see. He didn't ask the trainers, didn't probe the staff. He didn't have to. He's been in this league long enough to know the signs. He's doing it already, LeBron reportedly told someone in the building. No one's told him anything official, but his body says he believes it. That's the part that stuck with people, because LeBron understands what most don't. That belief isn't verbal. It's not something you hear. It's something you see in the hours, in the representatives, in the decision to change before anything's guaranteed. And Luka, he's already moving like Jokic is coming. That's not Luka being hopeful. That's Luka making space physically, mentally, strategically for something bigger than himself. It's the same kind of transformation LeBron made when he joined Miami, when he stepped off the solo act pedestal and began adapting for something more dynamic, something more dangerous. And now he's watching Luka do the same, only younger, earlier, and with more trust in a future that hasn't even arrived yet. LeBron has seen teammates evolve. He's seen stars resist. He's seen organizations break under the weight of egos that couldn't bend. But Luka, he's not resisting anything. He's leaning into it. That's rare. That's scary. And for a veteran like LeBron who spent his career trying to shape franchises around belief, timing, and execution, it's everything he's been waiting to see in someone else. Not someone who wants to be the guy, but someone who's ready to become part of something that redefines what it means to be that guy. Jokic might be the addition, but Luka's transformation is the ignition. And LeBron, he's already stepping aside. Not in deference, in recognition. Because a younger star stepping up to reshake himself before the system is even finalized. That's the move of a player who isn't trying to be chased. He's trying to set the pace. And now, LeBron's watching Luka become the thing everyone thought he was running from. The cornerstone of a system so smart, so selfless, and so unstoppable. He didn't need to say a word. His body already delivered the message. He didn't post it himself. Didn't drop a flex pic in front of a mirror. Didn't add fire emojis. No lock-in hashtags. No revenge season captions. Because Luka Doncic doesn't need slogans. He lets the work speak. And when that photo surfaced, shirts soaked in sweat, shoulders tighter, waist trimmed, eyes locked in, it spoke louder than anything he said since the day the season ended. And the message, I'm not hoping anymore. I'm getting ready. You could feel it ripple through the league in real time. Not through headlines, but through reactions. Scouts started texting each other. Trainers pulled up footage. GMs started asking, have you seen Luka? Because that image didn't say he's working out. It said he's shifting, and that's what rattled people. For months, teams had treated Luka like he was on the brink. They studied his body language, dissected his press quotes, tracked his distance from the team's pulse. The consensus was clear. He was halfway out. But now the conversation has changed completely because no player reshapes his entire offseason routine, adjusts his playing weight, and tightens his explosiveness if he's preparing to walk away. You don't adapt your style unless you're planning to stay and win. And that's what this version of Luka looks like, a player preparing to become the second half of something terrifying. He's not bulking to carry 48 minutes alone. He's shedding, to move, to adjust, to sync with someone like Jokic. And the silence, that's the part that hit hardest. Because in a league where stars perform their grind daily, where every rep is a reel and every sweat beat is framed for engagement, Luka said, nothing. No rollout, no watch what's coming, no they doubted me arc, just work, just sweat, just an image that told the league, you've been watching me drift, now watch me engage. And that's scarier than any quote, because when someone like Luka goes quiet, it's easy to assume he's fading, that he's checked out, that he's slowly, passively waiting to leave. But this silence, this was controlled, directed, intentional. He's not ignoring them anymore. One Western assistant coach said, he's just past the point of explaining, he's executing. And the message was received. Loud, clear, unmissable. He didn't need a press conference to say he's bought back in. He didn't need to sit down for a feature on what changed. His body did the talking. And what it said to the league? You thought I was gone? I was just waiting for something worth staying for. Now I'm building for it. Not with words, not with flash, with movement, with change, with a version of himself they haven't seen yet, but are already trying to figure out how to survive. They felt it before they talked about it. Before the media caught on, before fans started comparing side-by-side photos, before analysts began rewriting trade predictions, Luka's teammates knew. Because Luka Doncic didn't walk in and say anything dramatic. He didn't pull the team aside and announce he was recommitted. He didn't promise change. He just showed up different. It wasn't just that his body looked leaner. It was how he moved, how he carried himself, how he trained like a player who'd already seen the future and was preparing for it. At first, guys chalked it up to off-season energy. Maybe he was finally motivated. Maybe he just wanted to prove something. But then they saw the details. Luka wasn't calling for the ball in every drill anymore. He wasn't slowing the game down in scrimmages, commanding pace like a conductor. He was cutting, moving off screens, trusting the second pass. He was shifting. And in a league where superstars rarely change unless someone makes them, that's what told the locker room everything they needed to know. He wasn't just working hard, he was adapting. He's not prepping to carry, one vet said quietly after practice. He's prepping to connect. You only do that if you think someone like Jokic is coming. The term started getting passed around. He's already preparing for Jokic, not as a joke, not as speculation, as observation. Because when someone of Luka's stature starts moving with intention before a deal happens, it changes the emotional temperature of the entire team. Guys stopped looking at the Jokic trade as a fantasy headline. They started looking at it like a checklist, a when, not if. Because Luka, the guy whose buy-in determines everything, had already bought in. One assistant coach said it best. The most dangerous thing about Luka is that he doesn't bluff. If he's prepping like Jokic is coming, then in his head, it's already real. And that had a cascading effect. Players started staying later. Conversations in the locker room shifted from what if to how fast can we click. No one was openly talking about a super team, but everyone was training like they'd be part of one. It wasn't hype, it wasn't hope, it was tone. Luka had said it, and the rest of the team followed. Because for months, everyone had been responding to Luka's silence with caution. He was the barometer. His mood was their weather report. And now he was sharper, faster, quieter, but present. And that presence meant something. It meant that he wasn't resisting the idea anymore. He was making room for it in his game, in his body, in the way he let others lead within the offense during drills. And that told everyone, this isn't a waiting game. It's a countdown. Jokic may not be in the building yet, but Luka was already forming the bridge physically, mentally, and strategically. And for a team that had been walking on eggshells around its franchise player for most of the year, that shift was everything. He didn't need to say, I'm ready. He just needed to move like it. And now that he is, everyone else is moving too. Because when Luka starts preparing like the future already happened, you either match that energy or you get left behind. The trade hasn't happened yet. No war bomb, no shams tweet, no press conference backdrop with the Lakers logo stitched into the fabric and forced handshakes between execs. No leaked images of Nikola Jokic in gold and purple. Officially, Jokic is still a Denver Nugget. Publicly, the Lakers haven't gone all in. The terms are still developing. The smoke is still circling. And yet, inside the Lakers facility, inside team meetings, inside the very way drills are run and workouts are planned, it already feels done. And nowhere is that more evident than in Luka Doncic. Not in his words, because he hasn't said a thing, but in his habits, his presence, his precision, his purpose. Because Luka isn't carrying himself like a player watching the front office sort through its options. He's not behaving like someone on hold waiting to be convinced. He's acting like the future is already here. Not contractually, not procedurally, but spiritually, mentally, physically. And that's the part the league isn't ready for. Luka has stopped behaving like someone who needs answers. He's no longer pacing the perimeter of belief. 1 foot in, 1 foot tapping anxiously. He's not hedging, not protecting himself, not waiting for guarantees. He's moving like a man who is already committed. And not just emotionally, kinetically, biomechanically, strategically. He's dropped weight. He's refined his balance. His steps are lighter, his footwork tighter. Not because someone asked him to, not from media day highlights or social media content. He's building himself to fit into a system that doesn't officially exist yet, but already does in his mind. A system where he's not alone at the top of the usage chart. A system where he's not forced to absorb every possession. A system where he reads the floor not just for himself, but in sync with another genius. That other genius, Nikola Jokic. And Luka isn't waiting for the league to confirm it. He's already acting like Jokic is coming. That's what should scare everyone. Because while other teams are waiting for the paperwork, Luka is already internalizing the plan, already running drills as if the two-man game is going live tomorrow, already shaping his spacing, timing, and tempo around a teammate who hasn't even packed a bag. He's already playing in the future, one team insider said. Everyone else is still playing catch-up in the present. Other superstars wait, they posture, they demand, they maneuver. Luka prepares. That's what's making this different. This isn't ego. This isn't political. This is Luka giving the clearest signal he's ever sent, not through a statement, but through transformation. Every drill, every representative, every subtle adjustment in his movement, it all points to one thing: readiness. And not sometime down the line readiness, now. He's not easing into belief. He's not cautiously optimistic. He's already operating like it's game one. He's training like this trade happened yesterday, said one opposing scout. That's not a maybe. That's a man who's decided this is real. And that's what elevates this moment beyond trade rumors and off-season hype. Because if the Lakers do land Jokic, they won't be dragging Luka into a super team. They'll be catching up to the player who's already building one. He won't need to adjust. He's already adjusting. He won't need to buy in. He's already leading from the front. He's not lobbying. He's not second-guessing. He's not standing over the franchise with a clipboard of demands. He's letting his movement say what words never could. If this is real, then I'm ready. And if it's not, I'm still ready, because I already chose the direction. Now, it's on you to match it. That's the energy inside the building. It's not hopeful. It's not dramatic. It's inevitable. Because even if Denver pulls out, even if Jokic never wears purple and gold, the Luka who was waiting, he's gone. What's here now is a Luka who doesn't just want to win. He's building for it before the franchise asked. Before the papers were signed, that shifts the power dynamic. That shifts the locker room. That shifts the entire franchise. For the front office, they're no longer trying to keep Luka. They're trying to keep up with him. For the players, they're no longer waiting to see what happens. They're watching the blueprint move beside them in real time. And for the league, they're no longer wondering if Luka's leaving. They're wondering how the hell they're going to stop the version of him that just decided to evolve without permission. The trade is still pending, but Luka, he's already living in what happens next, not in theory, in motion, in execution, in leadership without a single spoken word. He's already reshaped his role. He's already taken ownership of a system that hasn't even been officially built. He's already stepping into a future where he's not the entire engine, but the weapon that makes the whole thing unstoppable. And the rest of the league, they just realize they're already behind.